Part 115. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1141. Chapter 1141. I will notify the boss immediately. Is there a problem? Rong Ci still maintains the surface kindness and politeness. The group of girls had already joined them happily, and Rong Ci instinctively took a few steps back. Every cell in his body was telling of disgust and alienation. Hey, which road are you from and who are you hanging out with? Why don't you seem to have seen it? A girl with a chin so pointed that she could stab herself to death if she lowered her head looked at Rong Ci with a smile and said, "That's right, someone with such thin skin and tender flesh, as gentle as jade, doesn't look like those rough guys who fight and kill all day long." Another girl whose eyes were widened to the top of her head continued. When Rong Ci was still thinking about how he was going to escape from the entanglement of this group of girls, who knew that one of the girls directly touched Rong Ci's biceps. Rong Ci shivered, and then quickly shrank. He replied and glared at the girl, which was a completely instinctive reaction. He didn't like other people touching him, especially these girls, who seemed to treat him like a cowherd. They all looked at him like wolves and tigers, as if they wanted to devour him. "Wow, don't look at the thin skin and tender meat, little brother, it turns out that he is so rich," the girl who took advantage said with envy like her companion. "Is it real or fake? I want to touch it too." As he said that, a group of women swarmed towards Rong Ci. Rong Ci restrained them in a few moments, and then said with a cold face and an expressionless face, "Please respect yourself." Rong Ci said and let go, then turned and left. After Rong Ci left, the expressions of the girls suddenly changed. "How is it? Have you found it? Who is he?" One of the girls stared at Rong Ci's back with cold eyes and said to the girl next to her, "Not on the invitation list." I knew there was something wrong with him. The girl curled her lips and showed a slightly scary smile as if she was succeeding. "I have just placed a tracking device on her arm." "Okay, I'll notify the boss right away." Rong Ci walked to a less crowded area around the corner, raised his lips slightly, took off the inconspicuous black tracker on his arm, and then moved forward, deliberately bumping into the waiter who was passing by. "Sorry. It doesn't matter." Rong Ci smiled faintly and took advantage of the chaos to transfer the instrument to the waiter. Those women may have begun to realize that something is wrong with him. He must find the hiding place of the treasure as soon as possible before they take action. At this time, Blue Whale and the others were already chatting on the summoner. "I am a lizard and have not found any treasures." "I am a blade, I didn't find it either." "Flame, there is no whereabouts here either." "I am a blue whale. I seem to have found a place that is very wrong, but there are too many people in front of me and I can't get in." Rong Ci's ears twitched when he heard this, and he asked in a calm voice, "Blue Whale, where are you?" "I am on the 4th floor." "I'll come right away." Rong Ci said and quickly started to move. He met a waiter pushing a cart at the corner. Rong Ci looked at the direction of the camera, then found a blind corner and raised his fingers at the waiter. The waiter was stunned for a moment, then walked towards Rong Ci blankly. "Do you need any service?" The waiter approached with a very polite tone. Unexpectedly, the next second, Rong Ci punched him and knocked him to the ground. Rong Ci dragged him to a remote corner and quickly changed his clothes. In less than a minute, everything was taken care of. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1142. Chapter 1142 Iris Recognition. Rong Ci pushed the trolley and walked towards the elevator. The elevator door opened, and there was a well-dressed woman inside. She didn't look big, she was probably about 22 years old, but the aura exuding from her whole body was extremely powerful. Rong Ci lowered his head slightly, pushed the cart and entered the elevator. The woman kept looking at Wrong Ci intentionally or unintentionally. Wrong Ci always remained calm and composed. Until the moment the elevator door opened, Wrong Ci was about to walk out, when suddenly there was a cold touch on the back of his head. He intuitively told Wrong Ci that the woman was holding a pistol and lowering the back of her head. "Say, who sent you?" The woman's voice is a little childish, but it does not affect her aura at all. "Did you make a mistake, miss? I'm just a waiter." "Waiter?" The woman smiled playfully. "I have met every waiter here, except you. Your clothes are not yours at all." Wrong Ci frowned. He didn't expect that he would encounter a troublesome woman again. Wrong Ci was just thinking about something when another person came over and was about to take the elevator. The woman's hand was still pressed against the back of Wrong Ci's head, but the man who came over seemed to have seen nothing and calmly landed on the ground. After getting into the elevator, he glanced at the woman and Wrong Ci, and complained, "What are you doing? I still need to use the elevator, please hurry up. You let me live here." Before the woman could finish her words, she was stabbed in the chest and fell down. Wrong Ci took the opportunity to turn around, moved quickly, snatched the woman away, met the man's gaze, and looked at the man in confusion and shock. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer. He just calmly handled the woman's body and said to Wrong Ci, "Hurry up and do what you have to do. Leave this to me." Wrong Ci vaguely heard the laughter getting closer and closer, and without thinking much, he pushed the cart and left. However, Wrong Ci never figured out who the man who helped him just now was. He was not a shadow hunter, so who could he be and why did he help him? Wrong Ci didn't have time to think deeply. He had already met with the blue whale. Blue whale hooked his fingers at Wrong Ci, and Wrong Ci approached him. The two of them hid in the dark and observed the situation at the scene. "I just saw several people go in, probably their boss." They all bowed respectfully. Blue whale was explaining to Wrong Ci the scene he just saw. "I guess we need to find an opportunity to kill these gatekeepers before we can enter." Blue whale continued. "Did you see how they got into that room, with a key, or with a fingerprint?" Blue whale frowned and recalled, it seems that guarding the door is of no use. They just stood there and the door opened by itself." Wrong Ci's epiphany, iris recognition. Blue whale was startled, iris recognition. Wrong Ci's face became solemn. "So, we must capture those people before we can go in and get the treasure." Wrong Ci nodded. "Did you see clearly who opened the door? In this way, they can also determine which person they are arresting." "No." Blue whale nodded. "There were too many of them at that time. I was afraid of being exposed, so I didn't dare to look more. I only knew that the three of them went in together. I didn't see clearly who opened the door." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1143. Chapter 1143. Today is our best chance. Then do you remember what those people look like? Wrong Ci then asked. Of course I remember, I have a photographic memory. Blue whale said with some pride. Wrong Ci raised his lips slightly and smiled conspiratorially. That's good. When they fall asleep at night, we'll tie them up. Good. Without thinking deeply, Blue whale agreed without hesitation. But when he thought about it again, he looked at Wrong Ci with wide eyes. What? You want to kidnap them? It's not me, it's us. Wrong Ci said. Yes, but there are so many people around them, and there are cameras and layers of prevention and control. Can we get in? And the three of them are in different rooms. There are 5 of us, and it's more than enough to deal with 3 of them plus that bunch of weaklings. Wrong see, I said quite confidently. But what? Wrong see's expression turned serious. Are you afraid? Of course not, I'm just afraid that it would be a bit reckless to act like this. You don't believe in your own force or anything. As for whether you are reckless or not, this is our only chance. If we don't do this, they will leave again early tomorrow morning. It will take a long time to wait until the next time we take action. Today is our best chance. Hearing what Wrong see, I said, Blue Whale nodded. Okay, let's do this. Go ahead, Dao Feng and the others are called over, and we'll split up to look for the bosses. Good. When Dao Feng and the others came over and heard Wrong see's plan, Dao Feng couldn't help but feel excited in his heart. Finally we are going to do things the way we killers do. He just hates being like that, having to pretend and hide. It's really tiring. Dao Feng likes to start a fight as soon as they meet, without any nonsense, and go straight to the topic. This makes him happy. Being an agent is not suitable for him. It's too frustrating. Describe their clothes and appearance. Wrong see, I said to the Blue Whale. Blue Whale began to describe it, and several people quickly wrote it down in their heads, and then split up. At the center of the party, Blue Whale discovered two people, but the third person did not come out yet. Wrong see, I was still thinking about the men who had just rescued him in the elevator. They were strangers to him, and they were not in the same organization as him. So who were they, and were they here for the treasure? It is estimated that because Wrong see, I had been exposed in front of those women before, the guards became much tighter, and Wrong see's actions were also greatly hindered and affected. Especially those women who enthusiastically took the gangsters around the boss to follow the tracker to find Wrong see. They wanted to take credit, but they were tricked by Wrong see and chased a waiter. After realizing that they had been tricked, a group of people became furious. While stabilizing the party, they strengthened the supervision of the treasures, and began to discuss strategies to find out the troublemakers. It didn't leave any trace on the camera. It seems that it was planned. A boss was looking at the camera with dark eyes and said coldly. They did meet one of them. After comparing the information, it seems that he looks like the famous Wrong see. Wrong-kai. The boss frowned. That agent? I thought he had already washed his hands. No, he's working for the Shadow Hunters now. Another gold teeth boss spoke. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1144. Chapter 1144. There are only two options. Shadow Hunter. The bearded boss raised his brows, showing a hint of disdain. When did they become so nosy? I don't know. Anyway, that Wrong see is my old enemy. I have met him more than once. He hindered the mission a few times before, but he was lucky enough to escape. This time, since he took the initiative to come under my nose again, then I will cut him into pieces. Jinya said, his teeth grinding loudly, his hands clenched into fists, his eyes darkened, as if Wrong see was about to crush him to ashes right before his eyes. According to my understanding of Wrong see, he will never give up until he reaches his goal. Although there is nothing happening now, bad things will suddenly happen if Baobuki doesn't wait for a while. The treasures are all carefully guarded for me. Don't make any mistakes. The rest people, try their best to capture Wrong see. Yes. Wrong see and the others made a plan, and after finding out the rooms of the bosses, they left first. Wrong see said that if he stayed any longer, he would probably be exposed and caught by them. They were heavily guarded, and they were trying their best to catch them, so they had to avoid it when necessary. So, that group of people searched for a long time. The party was over and everyone had left, but Ronkai and the others were nowhere to be seen. You must have thought that there was no hope, so you left, right? One person said. Huh, how is that possible? They all say that wrong CI should not be underestimated. I think he will definitely take action at night. Golden Tooth spat, with anger in his eyes. Then do we need to set a trap? One person asked. In this case, you follow my arrangements. It was late at night, and the flames began to urge everyone to take action. Wrong CI rubbed his sleepy eyes and looked at the flames. Brother Wrong, don't sleep, get up and take action. Although Flame's eyes were covered with red bloodshot eyes, he looked full of energy. He was probably so excited when he thought about the action later that he couldn't even sleep well. He just waited until that point and then woke everyone up to take action. Wrong CI stood up and stretched out slowly, looking very leisurely. Flame became anxious. Brother Wrong, everyone has packed up, but you are the only one missing. Why does Wrongkai not seem to be in a hurry at all? Wrong CI chuckled, why are you so anxious? The villa is full of traps. Everyone was stunned after hearing this. Brother Wrong, what do you mean? Then are we still going to implement our plan? Why does Brother Wrong feel like he has everything under control? Everyone has been deceived by Wrong CI, saying that he was the one who made such a plan. Now he is calm and tells everyone not to worry. He is also the one who is full of traps. Why do you feel that he is contradicting himself? Of course we have to implement the plan, but we have to do it in a different way. Brother Wrong, what do you mean? Let me ask you, if you are the boss of the group and your own things are taken care of, what will you do? Lizard touched his chin and thought for a moment. If I were one of those people, there are only two options when I already know the treasure's whereabouts and are exposed. You say. Wrong CI cast an appreciative look at him. First, move immediately, and then stage an empty city strategy. Second, the treasures are still there, then wait and catch them all in one fell swoop. Wrong CI nodded, feeling quite pleased. Yes, those are the two results. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1145. Chapter 1145. Is it too late to switch to a career as an agent? Well, Brother Wrong, since you have already guessed it and had a plan, why didn't you tell us earlier and make a night attack plan with us? They feel like they are being led by Wrong CI all the way, as if they just listen to what Wrong CI says and does. However, in most cases, they don't know the reason. First, I'm afraid that their villa has eavesdropping equipment. The possibility is quite high, so I just said that deliberately. Second, I'm not afraid that you won't be able to calm down. As soon as Wrong CI finished the last half of his sentence, Huo said disdainfully, cut. Wrong CI said half jokingly, don't think I misunderstood you, especially you, Huo, who can't hold his breath the most. If something goes wrong, we won't have such a good opportunity in the future. There are also Blue Whale and Lizard. You are both novices and unskilled. I am doing this to test you and let you learn some real skills. Instead of just doing what I say, you will have to do it yourself one day. When you are on a mission, there is no one to help you analyze the pros and cons. Just now, Lizard's analysis was very good. I just dialed it a little and he understood. Lizard scratched the back of his head in embarrassment at Wrong C's words and smiled. The other people suddenly realized it and sighed, Brother Wrong, it's great to follow you. I used to think that Wrong CI was a bit pretentious because of his seniority. He made the decision on everything, but I didn't expect that he actually thought about it in such a long-term way. From this point of view, it seems that they themselves are too small-minded. All right, let's put down those flattery nonsense. We will set out in two groups and use the summons to communicate. Wrong CI became serious for a second. Blue Whale and Flame, you go and ambush around the castle first. Yes, Brother Wrong. After Wrong CI finished speaking, he took out a tablet from behind his back. After opening it, he typed on it seriously. Others who were not assigned the task stared at Wrong CI. Brother Wrong, What about us? You guys wait and see if they are okay also, watch the camera with me and then make a decision. Lizard and Blade stood on the left and right of Rong Ci respectively, looking at the series of codes on Rong Ci's tablet, feeling a little dizzy. Brother Rong, what are you doing? Rong Ci raised her lips, let's use my agent's strengths. Huh? What does that mean? Dao Feng frowned. After the screen appeared around the castle they had just left, Flame finally realized, oh my god. Brother Rong, you hacked their surveillance system? The lizard also found it amazing. In just a few minutes, Rong Ci typed some letters and numbers that he couldn't understand. Then surveillance cameras appeared, not only inside the castle, but also outside, including the one with the treasure. That room. It can be clearly seen from the camera that the treasure is still there, and what Rong Ci and the others want is just a short distance away from them on the screen. Both the Flame and the lizard looked straight in the eyes. Brother Rong, you are so awesome. Lizard praised sincerely. Rong Ci smiled lightly and said, basic operations, don't panic. This basic operation is too outrageous. Since Lizard and Blade became killers, for the first time, I felt low. Is it too late to switch careers and become an agent? Congratulations to Daba Yang for winning 4 gold medals in the Asian Games. He is a very good athlete, hereby add more cheers. Thank you little cutie. Is it funny? 35 should work hard to become stronger. 159.93, 151.03, Ching Sheng and he are you, 157.38, Extreme Hope, Ran, I have you, it's enough, CCCCCQ. S rewards. Considering that everyone is about to start school, I will give you an update of 10,000 words in a few days as a start of school gift, hahaha. Also, it's the end of the month and I'm shamelessly asking for monthly tickets. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1146. Chapter 1146. More than 100 people can't defeat these two. Blade, come and see where the bosses are now. Rong Ci said this, and Dao Feng immediately poked his head in, facing the surveillance camera that was divided into many small pictures. Dao Feng kept staring at it for a long time, until his eyes were sore from staring at it, and then he found it, this, and this, they're here. The blade pointed it at Rong Ci excitedly. Rong Ci wrote it down one by one, and then told Flame and Blue Whale the room number one by one through the summoner. Let's split up, Blade, Blue Whale, and Lizard, go and catch these bosses respectively. Flame, you and I will go in to find those shrimp soldiers and crab generals to play with. After Rong Ci finished speaking, his eyes darkened, and his lips curved into an enigmatic smile. Good. After everyone agreed, they started to act separately. The Flames are so fighting, and they have long thought that they are familiar with their bones, and Rong Ci also satisfies his wish. With him, he interrupted the dog legs one by one. The people guarding the castle at this moment had absolutely no idea that they had laid a tight dragnet and were waiting for the fish to take the bait, but what was waiting for them was an unexpected result. Rong Ci and Huo Yan sneaked in from the outside and inside. They quietly eliminated a group of people along the way before they noticed someone was invading. Then they all rushed out, surrounding Rong Ci and Huo Yan. Flame's eyes were shining with a sinister light, and he and Rong Ci stood back to back. Rong Ci and Huo Yan were surrounded by at least 100 people, all of whom were masters. It seemed that they had arranged everything and were waiting for them to arrive and catch them all in one fell swoop. It's just that Rong Ci and the others still have at least a little advantage. They don't know how many of them there are. Maybe, for him and Huo, it's not necessarily true that all of them are dispatched. In this way, Blue Whale's actions will be much easier. Brother Wrong, even if we die here today, if they can complete the mission, we will be considered a glorious sacrifice. Wrong Ci frowned slowly and glanced at him. What nonsense are you talking about? The fortune teller said I will live a long life, don't curse me. Yes, yes, Brother Wrong, then we will kill all the people in front of us. As Yan Yan said that, he rushed forward and started fighting with the group of people. Wrong Kai follows closely. While Wrong Ci and Huo Huo were fighting, Blue Whale and the others arrived at each boss's room and made a surprise attack, catching them off guard. They were all hidden. They thought that with the group of people outside, they could sit back and relax and reap the benefits. Who would have thought that they could be found like this? Although they are also equipped with close bodyguards, the opponent is a shadow hunter and a professional killer who can't beat 10 of them. In their view, these so-called professional bodyguards are just a bunch of monkey tricks. It was just a joke, and after a few beatings, he fell to the ground and begged for mercy. After everything was taken care of and the lizard had transferred the treasures, Blue Whale and Blade hurried over to help Rong Ci and Huo Yan. By the time they arrived, Dao Feng was already heavily wounded, and Rong Ci already had several wounds on his body. Damn! More than 100 people can't beat these two? Shoot me! At this time, a sharp male voice came from high up, but just as he finished speaking, the lizard that rushed over wiped his neck. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1147. Chapter 1147. There must be one person who survives. Rong Ci raised his head when he heard the sound, raised his hand to wipe the sweat on his cheeks, raised the corners of his lips, and looked at the approaching lizard and Flame. You are quite fast. Flame supported proudly, of course, we are professional killers after all. Moreover, he is also a professional killer of shadow hunters, and his combat prowess is no joke. As soon as Flame finished speaking, he jumped down with Lizard and threw himself into the melee. However, at this moment, when Rong Ci was distracted talking to them, someone who seized the opportunity shot him in the chest, although it did not go straight to the center. But after just wiping it, Rong Ci immediately collapsed, clutching his injured chest, frowning deeply, and spat out a mouthful of bright red blood. Upon seeing this, Dao Feng quickly turned around to check Rong Ci's injuries. Rong Ci raised his hand and said firmly, I'm fine, please be careful. Although Dao Feng couldn't bear to ignore the chaos caused by Rong Ci, he couldn't disobey his order after Rong Ci said this. He knew that Rong Ci didn't want to drag them down and wanted them to complete the task as soon as possible. When the killer is performing his mission, even if your nearest and dearest person falls at your feet, you cannot bend down to save him, because your first priority is your mission. This is the law of the shadow hunters and everyone must abide by it. Perhaps seeing that Rong Ci was injured, the group of people's attack target became Rong Ci. Rong Ci dragged his injured body and fought with them in the hail of bullets. At this moment, Rong Ci had only one belief in his heart. If he wanted to survive, he must live. He had not found Sanskrit yet, so he must work hard to live. Brother Wrong, be careful. Blade shouted something like this in a sharp voice, and Rong Ci dodged sideways. If he was not seriously injured, Rong Ci's speed would have allowed him to avoid bullets. Unfortunately, he was already very weak now, so even if he reacted quickly, the arm was still bruised. The Blades and the others have been protecting Rong Ci, trying their best to prevent him from being attacked and fighting, but obviously, they themselves have been slashed by many knives. Rong Ci was also trying not to drag him down, trying not to fall down. Rong Ci suddenly grabbed Lizard's shoulder, his words were weak and his breath was weak. Lizard, you go first and take the treasure to hand over. No, I want to kill these people with you. The lizard's eyes were filled with crystal tears. Silly boy, there are more than 100 people, and they have guns and knives. Do you think this is a movie? Although Wrong Ci was still joking, his smile was extremely bitter. Lizard's tears fell. Even if he couldn't bear it anymore, he would leave. If everyone died here, what would happen to their treasures and their mission? I can still hit you, but you're already hurt so badly. Just go, please go, okay. The lizard's voice was still trembling as he spoke. No, you go. There must be one person who survives, so Wrong Ci gave up the hope of survival to the youngest and weakest lizard. The lizards left, but their fight was not over yet. More than 100 people have been killed, but so far, only a dozen people have been killed. Wrong Ci and the others were all seriously injured, but they did not fall down. Blue Whale once persuaded Wrong Ci to leave, but Wrong Ci was determined. He could not leave, and he could not die. When the last person on the other side fell down, Wrong Ci also fell down, and the flame Blue Whale and Blade all rushed up. In his daze, Wrong Ci seemed to see a woman in red walking towards him, but his eyelids were too heavy and he couldn't open them, so he closed them. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1148. Chapter 1148. I know her too well. At night, Xia Ying was lying on the bed. Just as she closed her eyes, her cell phone rang. I received a strange text message, the matter has been settled. Xia Ying curled her lips and smiled, then deleted the text message, put her phone aside, and got back into life again. Yu Lingfeng was a light sleeper. Being teased by Xia Ying on the side, Yu Lingfeng opened her eyes and asked, "What's wrong? Can't sleep?" "No, I just had a dream and woke up," Xia Ying said and shrank into Yu Lingfeng's arms. Yu Lingfeng hugged Xia Ying and kissed her on the top of her head. "Is it that nightmare again?" Yu Lingfeng's voice was very soft, like a clear spring flowing under the bright moonlight, silent but pleasant to the ear. Xia Ying has been haunted by the nightmare of the kindergarten fire since she was a child. Even after so many years, she still has not gotten rid of the nightmare. No, Xia Ying shook her head, it's a sweet dream. After Xia Ying finished speaking, she closed her eyes and stopped talking. When Yu Lingfeng saw that the breathing of the person in his arms was gradually becoming evener, he stopped asking and closed his deep eyes. The corners of Xia Ying's mouth gradually raised, revealing an intriguing smile. Xia Ran would have never imagined that Xia Ying would have seen through the conspiracy she thought she had carefully designed, and then she would go along with the situation and turn an army against her, causing her to shoot herself in the foot. At the wedding banquet, Xia Ran colluded with Mr. Wang and prepared to dedicate Xia Ying to him. He also deliberately let the news out. Early tomorrow morning, the media would rush to film and report that Xia Ying was cheating on her, was infatuated, and had two things to do. She has already prepared various drafts, waiting for the opportunity to completely ruin Xia Ying's reputation and make her despised by thousands of people. China is a country that attaches great importance to reputation. As a star, no matter how successful or popular you are before, once you are exposed to negative news about your character, such as cheating, mistress, etc., your entire artistic career will be ruined. Destroyed. Xia Ran just wanted to destroy Xia Ying and make her completely unqualified to compete with him. But she never thought that after she had carefully planned everything, Xia Ying suddenly left the wedding banquet early, and she didn't even bring her the problematic cup of drugged wine. She left. She planned everything, but she didn't expect that Yu Lingfeng would appear and Xia Ying would leave. So Xia Ran was very angry that day, accidentally drank too much, and then accidentally fell into Xia Ying's trap. That Mr. Wang is a pervert with a human face and an animal heart. Wolf, he misses countless actresses in the industry and has slept with them. He likes Xia Ying simply because Xia Ying is young and beautiful, but Xia Ran is not much inferior to Xia Ying. In other words, In Mr. Wang's heart, it doesn't matter who the two women sleep with, even, it would be best if you could sleep on it for the rest of your life. So, after Xia Ying saw through Xiao Ran's scheme, she found Mr. Wang and discussed with Mr. Wang to give Xiao Ran to him. Mr. Wang agreed to cooperate with Xia Ying without any hesitation. But how did you find out? This is the first question Mr. Wang asked. Because I know her too well, she likes to use this method best, and right now, I think you are the most promising target for him to use. Xia Ying chuckled lightly. Although Xiao Ran is smart, she is sometimes too self-righteous. She always thinks that she is the smartest. She is too confident. This kind of self-confidence will slowly destroy herself. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1149. Chapter 1149. Each one is more dangerous than the last. Wang is from the investor company, and he is most likely to have met Xia Ying during the filming of the movie. Moreover, he looks pretty good and is of the right age. Compared with other options for directors and producers, he has the advantage of appearance and is more convincing. Although Xia Ying did not show the characteristics of the appearance association, at least her boyfriend Yu Lingfeng's appearance was there. If she was given a cheating relationship with an old and ugly man, who would believe it? That's why Xiao Ran found Mr. Wang. He has always been the object of admiration among Chinese ladies. He is young, has accomplished something, and has outstanding appearance, making him stand out among the crowd. And he's funny. We usually spend a lot of time, but how many of these successful men don't? So this Mr. Wang still outperforms others in all aspects, and he has quite a few fans. Cheating on him is somewhat believable. The script that Xiao Ran arranged for Xia Ying was that she was unbearably lonely during the filming of the movie, got acquainted with Mr. Wang of the investor, and then cheated on her, and she was stuck in two different situations. You are very smart, and I like smart women. Mr. Wang's eyes have been looking at Xia Ying's body, staring straight at her with sparks. Mr. Wang, you must know that you only have two ways to go now. Xia Ying rolled her eyes and said slowly, first, if you cooperate with me, you can sleep with Xiao Ran, now the first sister of Chiao's entertainment and the most popular actress in the entertainment industry. Second, continue to help Xiao Ran and plan not to mention the defeat, and I have just recorded it, so I can take this to the court and sue you, and your reputation will be ruined. Xia Ying squinted her eyes and smiled. Her smile, which looked so kind, was now emitting a sinister and dangerous light, making people afraid to look directly at her. Mr. Wang's smile darkened in the next second. You beautiful women are really more dangerous than the last. Xia Ying smiled and toasted him with a glass of wine. Thank you. Mr. Wang betrayed Xiao Ran and Xia Ying very naturally. Now, Xiao Ran's beauty is lying unconscious in his arms, letting him do what he wants. Mr. Wang turned on his phone and looked at Xia Ying's photo. He shook his head regretfully and said, "It's such a pity." Then he put down his cell phone, turned off the light, and reached out to Xiao Ran on the bed. When Xiao Ran woke up the next day, she felt that her body was very sore. She struggled to open her eyes, and her head was still dizzy. How much did she drink yesterday? She couldn't remember clearly either. But she hasn't recovered yet, which shows how drunk she is. Xiao Ran weakly called the assistant's name, but no one answered. Is it possible that they haven't rushed over to serve him yet? It's getting more and more outrageous. Her schedule is full today, and she still has a set of magazine photos to take. Xiao Ran glanced at the alarm clock beside the bed. It was already 9 o'clock and he would be arriving at 10 o'clock. Why didn't those people show up yet? Xiao Li. Xiao Ran called again, but there was still no answer, but there seemed to be the sound of rushing water in the bathroom. Xiao Ran slowly stood up, and suddenly felt a tearing pain in his body, especially in the unspeakable place under his body. Xiao Ran was stunned. He opened the quilt and found that he was naked and had ambiguous traces of blue and purple all over his body. There was a bright red blood stain on the bed sheets. She was violated. This is the first thought that comes to Xiao Ran's mind. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1150. Chapter 1150 I will kill you. Who did it? Who is it? Such a thing, shouldn't it happen to that Xia Ying? Why her? Why? You're awake. At this time, a strong and handsome man walked towards Xiao Ran wrapped in a bathrobe. The water drops were still flowing in front of his honey-colored chest, which was quite charming. With an ambiguous smile on his lips, he was looking up and down at his spoils from last night. Seriously, he has slept with so many actresses, and this is the first time he met a young girl. He also did not expect that Xiao Ran, the most popular actress in the entertainment industry, would be so clean, which was beyond his expectation. He was quite satisfied. Xiao Ran threw a pillow at him. He caught it and looked at her with a half smile. Hey, we are all adults now, can you be more mature? You were quite proactive last night. Listening to these filthy words, Xiao Ran was already angry because he had lost his innocence. At this moment, he wanted to cut Mr. Wang into pieces and throw him into a frying pan to fry him thoroughly. Xiao Ran kept grabbing things next to the bed and throwing them at him. He kept trying to avoid them, and then he was hit on the head by the alarm clock, which made him completely angry. Xiao, it was obviously you who took the initiative. Why are you turning your back now? Do you think I rarely want to sleep with you? The person I want to sleep with at the beginning is Xia Ying, okay. Otherwise, do you think I like you? Xiao Ran became even more angry when he heard what he said. She had already lost her virginity to him, but this man actually despised her, compared her with Xia Ying, and said that he was not as good as Xia Ying. This is Xiao Ran's pain point, her lifelong pain point. Wang Li, just wait for me, I will kill you. Xiao Ran's eyes were red with anger, every word was sonorous and powerful, and it didn't look like a joke. Mr. Wang raised his lips, squinted his eyes, and smiled playfully, kill me? Are you sure? Specially emphasized the word engage. Xiao Ran was so angry that he trembled with anger. He gritted his teeth and said, obscene. Get out of here. You don't need to say that, I'm busy. Mr. Wang said, taking off his nightgown in front of Xiao Ran, revealing his strong figure. Xiao Ran immediately covered his eyes. Why are you pretending to be reserved? It's not like you haven't seen him before last night. Xiao Ran's ears were red. This dirty scoundrel, she would let him die tonight? Look at these hickeys, you were really hot last night, I like them very much. Mr. Wang looked at the marks on his body with a smile and admiration. Shut up. Xiao Ran scolded angrily. Mr. Wang smiled and said nothing, slowly started to get dressed and leave. Xiao Ran was the only one left in the empty room. Xiao Ran's emotions reached the peak of collapse. At this moment, there was no one around, so she hid her face and cried bitterly. Why does it become like this? Why? The innocence she had maintained for so many years was ruined by a gangster. Obviously the person lying here today should be Xia Ying, it should be hers. Why did it become her? Why is she the one who gets hurt every time? There must have been something wrong with yesterday's drink, otherwise how could she have been taken advantage of by that stinky man Wang Li? And why are the assistant bodyguards around her no longer there? This is a conspiracy, Chi Kuakuo's conspiracy. She must investigate clearly who wants to harm her, who it is, and she wants all those who hurt her to die in front of her eyes. With this thought, Xiaoran raised his head, put away his tears and crying, and started looking for his cell phone to call his assistant. End of this chapter.